Hello, beautiful dreamer. If you're struggling to move forward and make progress in your education or career goals, then today's episode is just for you. We will define what this final spoke of the wheel of life is and how to strategically build momentum to get to where you want to go. So stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in today. Today we are tackling the last spoke on the wheel of life, which is education and career. I intentionally saved this one for last because it doesn't always apply to everyone and can often be somewhat subjective. For example, as you fill out your wheel, this spoke is targeted at the people that are pursuing higher education, such as college, university, or trade school, etc., or those who are currently already have some type of career or job, or maybe wanting to pursue a job or a career. And the reason I wanted to preemptively clarify this section is because sometimes knowing exactly how to rank this section can often be misunderstood, since it is no way meant to be limiting or dismissive to those who have chosen, for example, to be a stay-at-home mom, or those who have no plans to pursue higher education. So you can see, in order to accurately rate this spoke on the wheel, it is important that you evaluate where you are in this area in relation to where you desire to be, which in retrospect is the same definition for all of the spokes on the wheel of life. However, if you're currently a stay-at-home mom or homeschooling your kids, I am thoroughly convinced that that in itself is a full-time job. Now, don't think that you have to mark yourself on the lower spectrum of the wheel just because you do not have a career outside the home or you are currently not pursuing a higher education. As in all the spokes on the wheel of life, it's more about how you determine your current status or where you are presently in life as to where your life currently ranks in this area. For example, currently in your education or career pursuits, are you where you want to be? Then that may look like an 8 or a 9. Or are you heading in the direction that you want to be? Maybe a 5 or 6. Or maybe you have a goal that you haven't even attempted to strive for, or you continue to have setbacks in. So that may look more like a 2 or 3 on the wheel. I hope that kind of clears this up for you. So with that said, let me also ask you a question. Do you remember when we talked about intellectual goals? Was there anything that popped up that you may currently want to pursue? Because that may also affect how you rank this section just a little. In fact, if you have time, it may be beneficial to re-listen to that episode, because it also takes into account different ways to further your career as well. Remember, these days, continuing education can also include online learning, webinars, courses, etc. Whether you are a 21-year-old college student and just beginning to dig deep into what you want your future career to look like, or perhaps you are a more mature, on the brink of a retirement, Titus 2 woman, don't rush past this section. I want you to give intentional time for prayer and contemplation on this spoke of the wheel. There was actually a season in my life where I was also a stay-at-home mom, which then evolved into a full-time, what I jokingly refer to as professional volunteer. I remember so clearly that as that season came to an end, I actually spent intentional time where I fervently prayed to God, and we had an emotional conversation about me pursuing a career. In that conversation, I felt the need to honestly convey what I would need my salary to look like. Ironically, several years later, I recently came to the realization that I'm actually now bringing in the exact salary that I prayed so many years ago for in that heart-to-heart conversation with God. So I encourage you, beautiful dreamer, not to take this endeavor lightly. So now let's talk about why goal setting in this area really matters. In education, If you find yourself ranking a little lower than you would like while pursuing your education, you may be wondering how to change the number on your wheel from a 3 to a 7, for example. Now, I am always going to advocate for writing a clear, SMART goal about what you're trying to achieve, which will help you as a student to stay focused and motivated. Not only that, well-detailed goals with action steps, when utilized correctly, are going to help you by improving your time management and by reducing the temptation for procrastination. Not to mention, providing you with a clear roadmap for your academic success and your personal development. Now, if you're wondering how this applies to a career, the same definition is true. Having a clear, detailed SMART goal of what you want to accomplish in your career will align your actions with your long-term professional aspirations, as well as also encouraging continuous growth and learning. Like I've said so many times before, I'm an avid learner, and I will most likely continue to promote this as long as anyone is listening. Not to mention that setting and accomplishing these goals also increases your job satisfaction, and it might possibly lead to advancement in your career. So, now let's discuss different types of goals. First of all, we have short-term goals. These include goals that are immediate and achievable within a few months. For example, if you focus on completing one semester at a time and getting good grades, or perhaps landing a summer internship in your field of interest. Now, medium-term goals, these are goals that typically are achieved within 1 to 3 years. An example of this may be earning a degree, or gaining an industry-focused certification, or even completing a relevant work project at your current job. Now, let's talk about those long-term goals. These goals are focused on the years ahead, and when implemented, they begin shaping the overall direction of your life. Some examples may include landing your dream job, starting your own business, or achieving a leadership position in your chosen field. It may even be setting up and achieving a retirement plan. Don't forget, we're focusing on the future here. Well, hopefully you're brainstorming these areas right now. And I want to encourage you, don't forget about those SMART goals. Remember, I have a bonus podcast episode on SMART goals if you need a refresher. Now, next you're going to want to begin breaking down your goals into actionable steps. And what this looks like is begin by identifying smaller tasks that will help you make progress towards your larger goals. For example, if your goal is to get a better grade, such as an A in a particular class, here are some examples of action steps you may want to break it down into. Maybe having weekly study sessions. And don't forget to mark them down in your calendar, or those weekly study sessions may never happen. How about reviewing your notes every morning? Or perhaps reviewing them in the evening when they are fresh in your mind after class. Perhaps you could even schedule to meet with a tutor for extra help in the class that you are struggling in. Finally, how about utilizing some practice tests to help you gauge your understanding or to identify where you are still having problems? These are just some examples to help get your wheels turning. Okay, now if you're having a hard time trying to figure out what a career goal and correlating action steps would look like for you personally and how to break those down, I would love to discuss coaching opportunities with you. So feel free to send me a message or leave a comment below so we can chat about what this looks like moving forward. Okay, now, to equip yourself to better overcome challenges and to stay on track with your goals, consider some of these well-proven action items. Number 1, implement time management by using planners, calendars, or productivity apps to stay organized. I, for example, am so much more productive when I use a planner to keep track of everything. Now, I will confess, I'm not lost without it. I'm just not as productive. Another huge action item is setting yourself up with accountability. Share your goals with mentors, peers, or family members to maintain your motivation. Don't forget to let them in on your timeline as well, so they can keep you true to those time-bound goals. And don't forget to give yourself a little grace. Learn to adapt when goals change or setbacks occur. This looks like adjusting timelines or strategies, but also be cognizant of the temptation to continue pushing the timeline out over and over again, because that turns into a whole other issue. And implement some self-motivation. Develop habits and routines that help you maintain momentum, like setting 1 to 3 daily priorities or celebrating small wins. If you're constantly looking at a list of 10 to 20 items that you have to accomplish, that can easily become overwhelming, and it may become more tempting to lay aside your dreams and goals because of this. Finally, remember that these two areas can often be interwoven. For example, education goals can often lead to your career aspirations, as well as utilizing continuing education to excel in your current career. So don't discard one or the other of these as you're contemplating setting goals on this area of the wheel. For example, setting goals to get better grades or excel in a math class can help if you have an engineering or accounting career goal. Implementing networking and internships, this can be beneficial in partnering your academic goals as an avenue to open doors for professional opportunities. I'm going to leave you with a couple of real-life examples for motivation. During the months following the 2020 COVID worldwide pandemic, I was working with a young woman who had set some very big goals for herself. However, because of being relegated to being schooled at home, her goals were beginning to flounder, and her grades were taking a turn for the worst. So we met up in person and revisited where she wanted to go and how she was going to get there. She immediately recognized that she didn't have enough self-discipline on her own to continue studying from home and still accomplish her goal of graduating with honors. So when given the choice, she made the brave decision to go back to school in person. This is such a good example of how we're not always in control of all the circumstances, but our dream and our goal may remain the same. So this is a good time to reevaluate and tweak your action steps accordingly. And like her, still be able to accomplish your dream goal. Personally, I originally went to school to study law, but unfortunately, I didn't have a mentor or a coach at the time, and I didn't stick to the plan. However, years later, never losing my heart for justice, I was given opportunities to go to conferences and trainings all over the nation to pursue education that has equipped me to fight for justice and mentor in the battle against human trafficking. I can honestly say that the opportunities I've experienced so far have far exceeded my original goals. So the key is to set your sight on your dream and continue to navigate your goals and action steps along the way, no matter how long it takes to achieve them. Obstacles and opportunities will come and go. Your clarity of the dream and refusing to give up, no matter what challenges come your way, will help you accomplish the life that you were created to live. And like me, recognize that happily ever after isn't a lie. Now, if you could do me a favor and please like and share this episode with others that you know would benefit from learning more about setting educational and career goals. And I hope you've been enjoying this series on the Wheel of Life. So when you subscribe to my blog at carolinasizemore.com, I'm going to send you a link for a free training on how to use the Wheel of Life to set your own goals this year, and invite your friends to subscribe as well. Until next time, beautiful dreamer.